So we're off to Outlaw Slots today. Gotta go pack a goodies bag to take so we can do some reviewing. Almost got swooped by a bird. Jesus. So let's go pack up some goodies. Let's get ready to go do some testing at Outlaw Slots. So let's bag up some goodies. I'm going to tap the table because I'm going to do some editing while I'm there. The PC, we have got the brushless Datsun sent to me built by Brendan. It's got the brushless motor. We are having some issues with the motor mount. There's only one point of contact. So on the way, I'm going to get some Loctite so this doesn't keep moving around, because at the moment, it doesn't want to go at all, but we'll fix that before we get there, hopefully. Of course, the prototypes come with us. We're going to take a heap of Revos. I'm going to test one of each, so a Corvette, a Porsche, and of course, a Datto. Non-brushless, and we're going to take the Stealth, which is somewhere around here. That's the Datsun box. We'll box him up. We're going to take the Stealth with us, the NITEHAWK. If you haven't seen the video, it's up there now. Bit of an unboxing and a show of the evolution of the Stealth, not the evolution of slot cars itself. But I also will take the old school style SCX steerable front end. Now, this is not going to perform very well, but I just want to show. No, the idea has been done before, and this is what it used to look like, which, let me tell you, what a stunning looking car. So let me box everything up, and then we're going Outlaw Slots. See you there. There we are, Outlaw Slots. Time to do some testing. Let's go. So I'm here at Outlaw Slots. This place is incredible, and we're here to do some testing today. So I do want to thank Outlaw Slots for giving me their tracks for some testing, and we are going to test the NITEHAWK Stealth F1. Now, just to refresh your memories, this is it. We've seen the evolution of a slot car. We're going to do some testing today and see how this runs around a couple of the tracks. Now, let's go quickly look at the track. It's a big 8-lane. This is the one that I want to test it on. Absolutely huge 8-lane of pure wood. Goodness, what an absolute massive looking track. Now, there is a couple other tracks here. I don't think this one's big enough for us to test that, but we will be hitting this track with some other cars, so look out for those videos. But let's go get set up. Let's do a big test on the big wood 8-lane at Outlaw Slots. Go testing. We've got the Stealth on the blue lane. As you can see, the track is absolutely massive. So let's see how we go. I'm using my True Speed, my MT2. Cannot wait to give this a run with Stealth. So let's get stuck into some hot laps and see how this thing performs out of the box. So let's get stuck into some testing. I'm using the Stealth body first. We will change it to the Corvette shortly, but I just want to see how this performs around the track, just making sure the braid is seated nicely. We're on blue lane. I'm using the MT2. Now I'm going to do a couple of laps and get the controller ready. I think I need a bit more braking on this, and then we'll do some hot laps and see how we go. She is quick. So it has a Predator at 20,500 RPM. And this dial the brake in, and then we'll go for some push laps. There we go, let's go for a push lap. I'm not too confident in the corners yet, but we'll get there. A little bit more braking and then we're good to go. She got sideways then. So I'm still trying to learn my braking points. It's got good grip around that corner. Here we go. Oh, almost lost it. It's actually not a bad car to drive, very stable. Bit of a squirmy out of there, so we're now starting to push some more speed out of it. And we have rolled it. And as you can hear, the body has come off, which is a good thing. I don't think I've broken anything. So let's go check out the damage. So we've had a bit of a rollover and the shell did come off. Luckily, no damage, and this is what this is designed to do, pop off. But what I will do is I have now tightened the front steering arms. They will still turn, but the suspension itself won't be traveling as much, because I think what happened is we compressed too far, it grabbed, and we did a cartwheel. So let's see if that helps us. Clip it back together. Nice and simple. We will try the Corvette very soon. Well, let's go take the Stealth for another hot lap. and see if I can gain some confidence and push it a little bit harder. So here we go again. We're going to go for a push lap. I'm just trying to get the braking set up perfectly because it is wanting to grab. Now I can't push it too hard yet through the fast sweeping corners, but I find the straight line speed is enough. So let's go and push. Try and find my braking spots nicely. This corner here is a tricky one, and we've rolled again. So it's time to push hard. The corners is where I'm failing with this, and I'm finding the front end is sitting up a little bit too high, so I have to try and adjust that. But the corners is where it wants to grip and turn. So she's got enough speed, which is I'm not confident yet in the corners. Let's go. So currently we're doing a 10 second. I reckon we can get that down to around about a 7. Oh. I was at Outlaw Slots, we had some visitors and they were very interested in what I was working with. I believe because the car was so unique. They've come over to have a conversation about what is this, what kind of car is it. So I showed them all the details, explained to them what Full Earth was trying to achieve with it, and just a bit of a rundown on the car itself. And not only were the visitors interested, so was Hayley, the owner from Outlaw Slots. She was quite interested in seeing what this was, how many's made, the purpose of the steering, asked many questions. But Hayley is a very good driver, so I think it's time that Hayley took her shot at driving the Stealth. Yeah. But look, it has the versatility. Because then you've got, goes all right. I'll show you the one I used to run. The one I raced with in America was one race. We've done a fair few laps, and so has Hayley, the owner here at Outlaw Slots. Now there is a couple of issues I have found with it. The ride height is a little bit hard to adjust it to get it to touch. I mean, you don't really want the fronts touching the track at all, but I'm not getting any touch whatsoever. So the steerable front end, for what my purposes are, wasn't really doing what it needed to do. Secondly, I know this is new printing. This is a new style of printing, I believe. And at the moment I'm finding, as you can see here, and I've left it because I want to be completely transparent. I've taken the wire out so you can see that it wants to pull out of its own hole. So we've got no real grub screw in there or thread that's going to hold on to the screws. Yes, there's a thread in there, but it's part of the print itself. So if I can make recommendations, I believe there needs to be a nice little threaded slip in there, and that'll hold it in place. In regards to the fun capacity of it, this reminds me of a vintage car. I mean, I've driven some pretty old cars in my time, and this is a lot of fun. Real tail happy for the 500k motor. It's good. It's fast enough. We are running 12 volts on that track, which is perfect for this motor. But I am finding what's giving it away is, I guess, the thread quality with inside the print itself. And again, we're not touching tires on the ground. So for me, the steerable front end isn't necessary. I'm going to remove the spring and give it a try off the spring, because I don't think the spring really is doing its purpose. I don't think it needs to be there. These are my personal opinions. Do I like it? Bloody oath. It's great. I can't wait to put the Corvette on it. We're going to adjust it and put the Corvette on it soon. Is it a good chassis? I think it is. I'm impressed with it. Do we like the shell? I know there's a lot of people that don't like the shell. Remember, there's licensing, there's rules and regulations you've got to follow when you're trying to design a car. And this is what suited them best. Now we do have the McLaren colours on it. I believe the CEO has seen it, liked it, and has number 2. So yes, it's futuristic. It's not everyone's piece of cake, but but it gets this chassis into the wild, which now we can swap over and put a Corvette from one of your favorite brands, whether it's Scale Auto or Carrera, a 1/24 scale, or if you've got some printed, 3D rendered, whatever you have to fit it to this chassis, which is adjustable. So recap, not too happy with how the threads are sticking. They do pull out if you have a big smash. If you're not smashing, nothing goes wrong. But that's my only concern so far, is we need something seated within the holes to hold the screw itself. I don't think a thread inside it is doing its job, or a backing screw itself, but a lot of fun. So I'm gonna go back and hit the track, get some more lap times in. I wanna thank Haley, who did a lot of driving on camera. She absolutely loved it, felt like it was a vintage car. Again, yes, this is not everyone's cup of tea, this Vision, but it's a lot of fun. But let's go back and hit the track, and I'll get some more footage of shorting it, and we'll put the Corvette on there and see how that looks. Let's go. So let's give the 1/24 scale Corvette a test. Still on the same chassis. It's been connected by the magnets. Let's get on track and have some fun. We'll get some other cars on there. That shouldn't matter. Let's have the full earth converted Corvette for a spin. Let's take the Corvette for a spin. Now the wheelbase is shorter because we've changed the shell. Let's see if I can get the braking correct. Let's go for it. Watch the corners. So I'm finding it's a bit more snappier with the shorter wheelbase, as a couple of NSRs go zooming by me as I get the old jalopy around. No. And we have got an issue, and this is the problem at the moment with this chassis. That's when Haley decided to go full Haley on it, and like you stole it. Video with some pros and cons and my thoughts, my final thoughts on the NITEHAWK Stealth F1 concept by Full Earth. Firstly, congratulations to Douglas for having a crack. There's 100 of these out there in the wild. I've got number one, so I'm very lucky to have this, but I am reviewing it with my own opinion. So if you do agree, excellent. If you don't, let me know if you have one and what you think. So firstly, I like the design of the chassis. I like we've got adjustability. The steering front end to me doesn't really matter. I'm not too fussed about having this steering front end. It's nothing new, and if I'm honest, I've removed the spring because it wasn't really doing much. And what it was doing was getting in the way of the screw for me to move this in and out for ease of transfer of the shells. We'll talk about the shells in a tick. Motor power, I was happy with the Predator 20,500 RPM. I felt that was enough to get used to it. It is tail happy, it feels old school, I like that. My biggest problem with this is, I believe it's an RC style of print. I don't know if it's nylon, I can't remember the product, the makeup of it. Douglas, please correct it in the comments. If I will find it, I'll put it here. What's happening is all the hardware, the screw work is pulling through, so I can literally separate those after time. Now, what I would like to see in the future is something seated in there to take the thread itself, so you're not having a pull out. So I couldn't really test it to its full potential because this kept wanting to pull away from the wheel, and then we'll get this suspension coming up through the roof, which means the car can't drive. So there's a lot of work to be done, I believe, in with the hardware that's seating all the parts and pieces. So firstly, let's get some proper grubs in there that you can actually thread into, and it bites. Yes, I can Loctite that, which I will in the future, but for this review, I wasn't going to do that. I'm reviewing it out of the box. That's probably my biggest pet peeve with this so far, is some of the hardware options of this. Secondly, it did sit a bit high in the front end. It was real no point for me having the steering front end when the tyres weren't really touching the track. Do you need tyres touching the track? Not really. Some people do like them. I like them just resting on there, so that it gives the car a bit of support. The rear was good. We've got some really good adjustments in the rear. I've had no problems with pull out any of the hardware because they are backed. As you can see, we've got a screw, we've got a nut, and that keeps it together. We should have something similar on the front, but we don't, unfortunately. Another thing I would change straight away is having a flathead style screw end here. So instead of taking the spring out the way, pulling it apart if you want to keep the spring, to make this its shortest wheelbase, you have to go past that threaded screw. You have to take that out so you can go in and out, because the top of this screw hits the thread. That should be flat. You should have enough thread on the screw that it just comes through, and then you can go in and out by adjusting it, and you do not have to take out any more hardware. Straight from the Corvette or whatever you're using onto the shell, which we'll talk about that now. Yes, it's not everyone's taste. Do I like it? I do. It's different. It's a fantasy car. I like the livery. I'm a McLaren fan. But this is a good way to get your car into the hobby because there's no licensing around this view, this picture. What they've done here is created their own shell. Yes, I prefer to see this. Love that. But a very smart move by the boys is they've made a converter plate so you can actually run your favorite 1/24 scales or as easy as you can by clicking into the chassis itself. So it gives you options. Yes, I prefer to see this, but we've got this so we can get this out there, which is great. I would like to see a version 2. I will be emailing all my thoughts and ideas back to Full Earth because I can see this happening. I can see this being a really good option here. I was here at Outlaw. Haley, avid racer, great driver, love the feel of it, being a vintage feel of car, but of course we both had the same concerns with some of the build quality and choices. But a great first attempt. So there is 100 of these. Thank you so much to Douglas from Full Earth. I had a lot of fun. I will be now Loctiting it, doing the modifications that I think I can do to this to make it a car that I can push with confidence, and then putting it back on the track. Probably a part 3 or a standalone track. But for now, that is our review. Had a lot of fun. This is the Stealth F1 concept by Full Earth. I've been Travis. You've been great. Take care. Be safe. Bye.